At Baalbek, three colossal stones sit in a Roman platform like they were placed by something that did not think in human scale. Their weight alone still makes engineers pause, and that is where the mystery begins. The place is in eastern Lebanon, where the ruins of Heliopolis rise above a broad plain, and the mountain air feels dry and open. For centuries, travelers have stood here and asked the same question: how was this built? The Roman temples are impressive enough on their own, but the platform beneath them is what pulls the eye downward. In that foundation, the stones are so large that the mind keeps reaching for a better explanation. This is not a modern mystery born from a blurry photograph. It is an ancient one, preserved in plain sight, where myth, engineering, and speculation have been pressed together for generations. Long before today's arguments, Baalbek was already a sacred center tied to older cults and later Roman ambition. Each ruling power inherited the site, but none fully erased the question hidden in its stones. The most famous blocks are the trilithon, three enormous stones set into the retaining wall with startling precision. Nearby quarry stones, even larger, suggest the builders were willing to work at a scale that feels almost unreal. Supporters of lost technology theories point to the quarry itself, where one unfinished block still lies in place as if the work stopped mid-thought. Its size alone raises the oldest practical question in the case. How was it moved? Even today, lifting a stone of that mass would demand planning, equipment, and careful coordination. In the ancient world, where the record is thin, the silence around the method can feel louder than any answer. That silence is part of the fascination. The site stands as a finished statement, but the steps that led to it are only partly visible, like a machine preserved after its instructions were lost. Ancient writers and later travelers were aware that Baalbek was extraordinary, and some treated it almost as a monument from another age. Over time, the platform became a magnet for stories about forgotten builders and skyborne knowledge. The idea of lost technology thrives here because the stones invite comparison with modern engineering. When a block seems too large for the known tools of the time, imagination steps in to bridge the gap. And yet the builders were not working in a vacuum. Roman engineering was advanced, organized, and capable of remarkable feats, which makes the site more intriguing, not less. The strongest believer case begins with scale, but it does not end there. The fit of the stones, the apparent care in placement, and the ambition of the platform all suggest a design philosophy aimed at permanence and awe. There is also the quarry question, which keeps returning like a stubborn echo. If the stones were cut here, why was this particular block left behind, and what does that say about the limits of the project? Some writers have gone further, suggesting the platform preserves knowledge older than Rome itself. In that reading, Baalbek is not just a temple foundation, but a surviving fragment of a much older engineering tradition. That idea becomes stronger when the stones are viewed against the landscape. The plain is open, the horizon broad, and the whole site feels positioned to command attention from far away. Still, a mystery can survive even when the basic facts are known. We know the platform exists, we know the blocks are immense, and we know later builders inherited the site. What remains uncertain is the full chain of methods. That uncertainty is where the extraordinary interpretation keeps its grip. If the ancient world achieved more than our textbooks easily explain, then Baalbek becomes a doorway into a larger lost chapter. Skeptics question whether the mystery is as complete as it first appears. They point to Roman logistics, quarrying skill, and the long history of monumental construction across the Mediterranean. Those explanations matter because ancient builders were often more capable than modern assumptions allow. With labor, time, ramps, and leverage, even astonishing work can become imaginable. But imagination is not the same as certainty. The surviving evidence does not describe every lift, every sled, or every decision. And that missing sequence is exactly what keeps the site alive in the mind. What makes Baalbek especially compelling is how the question shifts from whether the stones are huge to why they were made huge at all. Monumentality itself may have been part of the message. A platform like this announces power, devotion, and control over labor. Yet the deeper the stones are examined, the more the site seems to ask whether ambition alone can explain the result. The most difficult detail is not simply the size of the blocks, but the confidence implied by their placement. Someone believed these stones could be set, aligned and trusted to hold for ages. That confidence can be read as human ingenuity at its peak. It can also be read by more speculative minds as evidence of knowledge that was later forgotten or deliberately obscured by time. Either way, the site resists a simple explanation. The stones are too large to ignore, the history is too layered to flatten, and the gap between what survives and what is known remains wide. That is why Baalbek continues to attract people who look for traces of advanced ancient knowledge, and others who simply want a better engineering story. Both are reacting to the same remarkable evidence. The conventional reading says the builders used known methods scaled up to an exceptional level. Perhaps with regional expertise, we have only partly reconstructed. It is a serious explanation, and it deserves respect. Yet even that reading leaves a residue of wonder, because the finished work still feels larger than the story attached to it. The monument outlasted the empire, and the method did not. For that reason, the trilithon remains more than an archaeological curiosity. It is a test of how much of the ancient world we can truly recover, and how much has slipped beyond the record. The question is not only who built Baalbek, but what kind of civilization believed such work was worth the effort. That answer may be more revealing than any single theory about the stones themselves. So the mystery stays open in two directions at once, toward lost capability and toward forgotten context. Baalbek does not settle the debate, it keeps the debate alive.